Hello everyone. Welcome to EduTap's another insightful session of Perspective 360 degree, where we do current affair based answer writing practice in a detailed and structured manner. So if you are an aspirant preparing for exams like RBI, NABARD, etc., then this initiative is definitely going to help you with answer writing practice for the descriptive paper of phase 2. Before we start the lecture, first of all I would like to say that I'm having fever today, so sorry for the any inconvenience that may cause due to the bad throat. So let us move on to today's topic, which is gender inequality, and we are going to mainly emphasize on the answer writing practice as far as the gender inequality is concerned, because as far as the relevance of this topic to the exam is concerned, you would agree that it is not very difficult to find or prepare the content on this topic. So content is not a problem as far as the gender inequality is concerned, but how to use that content in order to write effective and better answer, we are going to see today that how we can use the data and examples etc in order to put some value addition when as far as the answer writing is concerned. So before we start the lecture, first of all let us see why we are discussing this topic and why we have chosen this topic for this session. The reason being that because of the gender inequality index that was recently released by UNDP. So that is the reason why we are going to cover this topic today. Now the relevance as far as the syllabus is concerned, the RBI Grade B syllabus very precisely mentions the gender issues in your syllabus. So that's why it's important for us to cover this topic. Similarly, in the NABARD Grade A also, we have this gender issue joint family system. So gender issues keyword is mentioned in the NABARD Grade A syllabus also, and that's give you a strong reason to prepare this topic in a holistic manner. Now, if you are somebody who is new to our Perspective 360 degree initiative, then let me tell you that here, firstly, we give you an expected question, and we are going to discuss this expected question in this session. Now, on the basis of the discussion, you have to write down your answers in the comment box that will be evaluated by your team within 48 hours. So, the deadline to submit this answer is till Friday 5 pm. I hope the deadline is clear to you if you want your answer to get evaluated. And let me also tell you that this whole initiative is free of cost. I hope this is clear to you. Now let us see today's expected question, which is discuss the underlying causes and impacts of gender inequality. So as you know that as we discuss in all our lectures that the first step is to identify the keywords. So what keywords we can see here? The first keyword is the underlying causes. The next is and impacts of gender inequality in India. So the next keyword is the impacts of gender inequality, and while proposing potential solutions to address its effects. So the third keyword is the potential solutions. What could be the solutions that could be implemented in order to solve these problems? So that's how you break down the question. And now moving on to the next part, which is the answer blueprint. As I always say in my sessions, that the introduction should be around 10 to 12% of the total word limit. The same case applies to the conclusion also, and the rest of the word limit should be allocated to the body part, where our answer is divided into different headings and subheadings. Wait a second, please. Okay, so where the body is divided into different headings and subheadings. Now, under the subheadings, you have to write your relevant points, which are to be justified on the basis of relevant data, facts, or examples. So I hope this is clear to you how we are going to write our answer. And in this session, as I've already said, that we are going to focus on answer writing practice only, because as I already said that gender inequality is not a difficult topic to prepare. So as far as the exam is concerned, so we are going to see how we are going to utilize our content efficiently in order to write better answers. So this is about the answer blueprint, which I would like you to follow while writing your answer in the comment box. and also in your examination. Now moving on to the next part, we have already discussed it today, breaking down it into introduction, the causes, impact, solutions, and summary. So we are going to see it in a step-by-step manner, how we are going to structure our answer. Now coming to the introduction part, so how we are going to start our introduction by defining gender inequality. So gender inequality is a social process by which people are treated differently and disadvantageously under similar circumstances based on gender. Pretty simple. So what after that we can write is we can extend this point by saying that gender inequality often stems from long held beliefs about men and women's roles, unfair laws and practices, and economic disparities. So what we are doing is, in the introduction we are giving the small snapshot about what all we are going to discuss in the body. So that's what we are going to discuss. I will see you how I've linked the introduction to the body, because these are the points that we are going to discuss as far as the causes of gender inequality is concerned. Then we can write about some data in order to put value addition in your argument. So we have written data of in gender inequality index 2022, India ranked 102 out of 193 countries, which is not a good ranking, highlighting the extent of this challenge within the nation. So why we are writing specifically about India? Because the question was asking about the India. So that's why we have given a reference through the index of gender inequality index in order to substantiate our argument. The next is, you can also write the constitutional provision, which is Article 14 and Article 15, which talks about the equality, right to equality. So you can add that point also, which promote the gender inequality as far as the values of the constitution is concerned. So that's how you can design your introduction, by firstly addressing what is gender inequality. And since the question was asking about India, what we are doing, we are highlighting on that also by giving some sort of data and also giving some constitutional provisions with respect to the gender inequality. I hope this is clear to you. Now let's move on to the body part, how we are going to write a body. So as we can see, the questions asks about the causes, impacts, and the solutions to address its effects. So we are going to write the causes, the effects or the impacts, and the solutions. So one by one we are going to cover it. Now see, these points are very easy. So the content should not be a problem, as I already said. But what we are going to see is, the observation that I want you to make is, firstly see that what I'm doing in my answer is that I'm writing my answer in a multidimensional manner. What do we mean by multidimensional answer writing? Firstly, we are talking about the historical context, which is our point one. So we are talking about the history. Then we are talking about the socio-cultural factors. So we are talking about the society dimension. Then we are talking about the economic dimension. After that, we are talking about the legal or political dimension. Then we are talking about intersectionality, which is the combination of different factors. We are going to understand what is intersectionality. So combination of different factors as far as the inequality is concerned. So I want you to observe very consciously that I'm writing my points in very, multi-dimensional manner. So how you are going to write it in your exam? Firstly, you are going to put the heading, the causes of gender inequality. Then you are going to write the historical context, then the social context. Under the historical context, you are going to write A, B. Under the socio-cultural aspect, you are again going to write A, B, C point, whatever you want to write about. Then economic, then legal, and intersectionality. So you can see that how we are talking about, how we are writing the answer in a multi-dimensional manner. So this is the point I wanted to make. So let us go through these points one by one. So firstly, we are talking about the historical context, about what is the connection of causes of gender inequality as far as the historical context is concerned. So we can write about the past legal restrictions of women's right to education, then employment, then political participation. You can also write examples such as the sati, then child marriage. Then we can also talk about denied access to education, then a dowry, etc. So these are, dowry happens in the present times also. But what I mean to say is that what you are doing, you are giving the heading the historical context. Under it, you are writing A, B, C, D, and what you are doing, you are substantiating your point with one or two examples. So that's the approach that I would like you to follow when as far as the answer writing is concerned. The next is regarding the socio-cultural factors. So the social cultural factors such as the stereo-societal perceptions about gender roles, so such as the caregiving roles that are expected from women, for such as the stereotypes such as women are expected to manage household duties only. So a lot of places they are not allowed to work outside. So this is an easy point about socio-cultural factors. Then we have the patriarchal norms such as the dominance of male authority. Then we have given the example dowry. So what you can see is that whatever point I am writing, I am substantiating it with the help of example. Again, another point I am writing under the social cultural factors, I am substantiating it with the help of example. That's how you I want you to substantiate your points in order to make your answer well structured. So the next point is the economic factors. So as far as the economic factors are concerned, what we are writing, the limitations related to the economic independence, and under it we can write data in order to substantiate our argument, such as the wage gap in India is 34%, and according to whom, the International Labor Organization. So that's how we can substantiate our argument. The next is the occupational segregation. So you can as you would be knowing that certain industries, because of the stereotypes, the sectors like construction and technology, they are usually dominated by men. Women do not get the same opportunities in this sector. So this is another example or the point that you can add in your answer. The next point is regarding the legal and political factors. So under it you can write the legal and political causes as far as the gender inequality is concerned. So you can write about the discriminatory laws that are there, such as the inheritance rights. Then you can also talk about the lack of political representation. So under it there is a very good example of sarpanch patis. So if you don't know what Sarpanch Pati is, so Sarpanch Pati is the system where husbands act as the proxies or representatives of their wives who hold the official position of Panchayat. So if you have seen that movie Panchayat, not the movie but the web series Panchayat on Netflix, so there this phenomena has been explained related to Sarpanch Pati. So this is what we understand by Sarpanch Pati. So that is also a problem as far as the gender inequality is concerned, because even if the woman has been elected, she is not getting the equal rights in order to maintain the decisions independently. So another example or data you can write about, only 14% of the members of the 17th Lok Sabha are women. So this is also an important data regarding the political or the lack of political representation of women. The next point is regarding the legal system. So women in India also face the legal hurdles such as the limited legal awareness, the lack of affordable legal aid, and gender biasness within the legal system. So these are the legal and political factors when it comes to gender inequality. So you can see that I've tried to substantiate my points with the help of the example, data, or different facts. So that's the approach that I would like you also to follow while writing your answers. The next point is regarding intersectionality. So intersectionality means the interconnected nature of social categorizations such as the race, gender, class, etc. So for example, let's say there is a dark skinned woman, and we know the stereotypes that are there regarding that in a society. So if that dark skinned woman faces discrimination because of color, and if that dark skinned woman is a belongs to the Dalit community, and also she is a woman, then there are three factors regarding it on the basis of which she is facing the discrimination. So she is also facing the racism on the basis of color, then on the basis of caste, and then on the basis of gender. So this is nothing but the intersectionality or the different forms of discrimination as resulting in the compounded disadvantages. So that is also an important issue as far as the gender inequality is concerned. So that's how we have written our answer in a multidimensional manner in order to structure it in a better way. Now let us move on to the second part of our body, which is the impact of gender inequality. So again, what you can see is that we have written our answer in a structured manner by again writing it into different subheadings that represent the different dimensions of the answer. So the first is the economic dimension, second in the social dimension, Third is the psychological dimension. The fourth is the educational impact. The fifth is the political dimension. So all the dimensions are different from each other. So that's how I would like you also to write your answer in the form of different subheadings by mentioning the different dimensions and then elaborate it with the help of example or data. So the first point is regarding the lower GDP. So as per the IMF, gender parity can boost India's GDP by 27%. What does it mean? If we are able to promote gender equality in India, then it can increase our GDP by 27%. So this is the potential or the impact if we are able to solve this concern of gender inequality. The second point is regarding the limited workforce participation. So female labor force participation rate has declined from 42% in 2005 to 18% in 2019. So this shows that even if we have improved from 42% to 18%, we are yet to done a lot in this area in order to promote more workforce participation or the women workforce participation. So that's the point regarding the economic impact of gender inequality. Then the next is the social impact. What happens when it comes to the society? So because of the gender inequality, there are increased violence against the women, such as the domestic violence, the acid attacks, etc. The limited access to healthcare because of lack of awareness among the women. So the third point is regarding the missing women. So missing women are the girls and women who would be alive today if parents were not aborting their female fetuses. And as per economic survey 2018, the stock of missing women is 63 million. So that's how you can substantiate your point with the help of data. So these are the different points that you can write under the social impact. The next point is regarding the psychological impact. How does it impact the women as far as their mental health is concerned? So it leads to the low esteem or the confidence of women, and it also leads to mental health issues such as the depression and anxiety among the women. So these are the psychological impact. You can also add some data regarding it. The next is the educational impact. So the educational impact is that due to gender inequality, there are limited opportunities for education of women. Then there is also digital gender gap also. So you can write it with the help of data that the literacy gap of 18% between men and women, and digital gender gap, only 29% of the Indian users in India are the females. So this shows the digital gender gap and the limited opportunities for education or the literacy gap as far as the impact of gender inequality is concerned. So the next point is regarding political impact, which includes the underrepresentation of women in decision making and lack of gender inclusive policies. So that's how you can write your answer or your points in a multidimensional manner by writing it in the form of different headings and subheadings. So I hope this is clear to you. Now let us talk about the solutions, which is your way forward. So as you can see here also, what I am doing that I'm giving the solutions related to the economic dimension, then related to the legal dimension, then the mental health services, then the gender inclusive workplace policies, then even invest in gender response education, and then advance women's political participation and leadership. So what I want you to observe is that whatever solutions that we are mentioning over here are linked to the challenges that we had discussed earlier. So if we see the challenges or the causes of the gender inequality, here also we are talking about the economic factors, then legal and political factors, then in the impact we are seeing the social factors, the psychological factors, the educational impact. So these are the different impact or effects of gender inequality. So in the solution, what we are doing, we are relating those problems or the impact with the solutions. So where solutions are written also in that manner where they are giving us a way forward in order to solve the problems that we have discussed. So I have seen many answers where students write about the solutions, but their solutions are totally different from the problems that they have discussed in their answer. So make sure that your solutions are linked to your problems. Now let us move on to the first point, which is promote gender response economic policies. So it talks about implementing policies that address gender disparities such as equal pay for women, then support for women owned businesses, the women entrepreneurs. Here you can add the example of Lijjat Papad. Then it talks about promoting or investing in programs that provide training and education to women, and also access to financial resources to enhance their economic opportunities and empowerment. So this is about promoting gender responsive economic policies, which is the economic dimension. So the next point is regarding strengthening legal framework and support services. So this may include legal provisions such as the Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act. Then we have reservation for women, both in the parliament and also at the part of local self-government. Then Dowry Prohibition Act. Then we also have the Equal Remuneration Act. So these are the different legal frameworks that were passed in order to support the women's rights and to reduce the gender-based disparities. So you can write enforce laws and policies that protects women's rights and promote gender-sensitive education and awareness campaign to challenge social norms and attitude. And with that, you can give examples in your answer. So the next point is regarding promote gender responsive mental health services. So here you can write the example of National Mental Health Program that aims to provide affordable mental health services to all individuals. So you can talk about how such programs should be promoted more in order to tackle mental health issues. So you can write increase access to affordable and gender sensitive mental health services, then raise awareness about the intersection of gender inequality and mental health. So promote self care and resilience building strategies. So these are the points that you can write under these solutions. Then the next point is regarding to implement gender inclusive workplace policies. So this may include adopting policies that promote gender inequality in recruitment, hiring, and promotion practices, then provide training and education programs to combat gender bias and promote inclusive workplace cultures. So these are the points under gender inclusive workplace policies. The next point is regarding investing in gender responsive education. For example, ensuring equal access to quality education for girls and boys. Here you can write about the Right to Education Act that was passed by the government. Then you can also talk about Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. Then you can also talk about Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. So these are the initiatives that the government should promote more in a gender inclusive manner. The next point is regarding advancing women's political participation and leadership. So here you can talk about the reservation of women in parliament and at local self government level. Then we can also talk about the practice of sarpanch patis. Government should take steps to promote more women's political participation and leadership role. Then we can also talk about strengthening the institutions and mechanism for gender mainstreaming in policy making and governance to ensure women's perspectives are included in decision making processes at all level. So these are the different type of solutions related to gender inequality. So you have to write your answer in a structured manner by touching different dimensions. So I hope this is clear. Now the last part is the conclusion. So when it comes to conclusion, you have to divide your conclusion into three parts. Firstly, you will talk about what is your stand with respect to the question, whether you agree with that or not. Then you will talk about why do you choose that stand. And the third thing is what is the way forward. So we can see how we can write our conclusion in this manner, how we can structure it. So our stand is that gender inequality is a complex and pervasive issue that requires concerted efforts from all sectors of society to address effectively. So this is what we think about gender inequality. We have to write it in our conclusion by addressing what the question has asked very precisely. Then what I told you, after that you have to write why do you take that stand. So it undermines social justice and limits the potential of individuals, family, and entire communities. So, why do we think gender inequality is a complex problem and it requires the efforts from all sectors of society? Because it undermines social justice and limits the potential of individuals, family, and entire communities. So, that is your part two. Now, the third thing is way forward. By analyzing its underlying causes, understanding its impact, so the causes, the impacts, and the solutions. What you are doing, you are writing the keywords that were mentioned in the question. So we are analyzing the causes, understanding the impacts, and proposing the solutions. We can work towards creating a more equitable and inclusive world where individuals of all genders have equal rights, opportunities, and dignity. So what's the way forward? We have to make sure that whatever policies we are creating, it should be more equitable and inclusive, by keeping in mind that individuals of all genders have equal rights, opportunities, and dignity. So that's how you can write the conclusion. Another thing apart from this you can write about is a point on India, because I have missed it. So you can talk about how the gender inequality, why the gender inequality is important for India. So what you can do is you can write just one line for India. So that would be your fourth point. So that's how you can design your conclusion, by taking a stand, giving reason that why you have taken the stand, and after that a small way forward, and then you can talk about India. So you can talk about why gender inequality is important for India, and you can write a short line over here. So that's how you can design your conclusion. I hope it is clear to you. So that is it for today. And before leaving, let me remind you that you have to submit your answer before 22nd of March, which is Friday, 5 p.m., if you want it to get evaluated by our team. So all the best.